So, we have finally arrived. Here it is, a much anticipated video for many of you, I know. Hello, my name is Snoo. This is a showcase video for the one and only Tornado Shot Champion, which I set out to make this league following a Toxic Rain league start and a bit of a bumpy road along the way. I'm going to share all that with you today. We're going to talk about the story. We're going to showcase some PoE comparisons to a character that is going to look very similar from last league. You can probably see right there, just from the graphics, character kind of looks probably pretty familiar to you. We're going to go over, let's see, the gear, the gems. We're going to do a map showcase. It's all in the description, or rather timestamps. Of course, in the description there will be an Atlas link, a PoE link, filter link, Discord link, all kinds of useful links for you to take a look at. So I welcome you along to this video. We're going to try to keep things kind of short, which is what I don't usually do very successfully, but I'm going to do my best on this one for you. Quick recap on the story. I decided to start as Toxic Rain. I said I would potentially try out Val Caustic Arrow if it turned out to be good. Well, fell in love with that character. It quite literally extended the life of that poison-based, or not poison-based, sorry, chaos-based league start character by at least a week, compounded with some pretty awful RNG on a mapping strategy that's high stakes, high risk, but pays really good dividends in the end. Apothecary farming. Having some bad RNG there also extended the delay a bit, but the RNG gods have smiled on me. Finally, I have found something like 4 apothecaries in the last 100 maps, which absolutely gave me the green light to sell off my chaos build for roughly 200 divines. Ended up the price tag kept inflating to about 200 divines on there. Found myself with about 450 divines liquid currency and was able to pour all of that into this character. I knew I would need to have quite a bit of currency to meet a certain benchmark that I wanted. I did not want to transition with just some cheap, low investment Tornado Shot character. It doesn't really lend itself very well for that anyway. Not going crazy with mirror tier gear yet, but of course that is the long game. I'm going to show you all about it in this video. But first, we're going to start with a map showcase. Going to jump straight in. I always like starting a video out this way. We got a nice little 8 mod corrupted beyond map. Not too difficult, fairly easy mods. Currently, I am working on a very lucrative strategy, which is a high investment Harbinger strongbox strategy with Eater of Worlds, Delirium Mirrors, blocking everything. This is not a Wandering Path build, and even Essence on the side with a few extra points given in. Again, that Atlas is linked in the description below. Quadruple Winged Scarabs, however, unelevated Sextants, fairly cheap Sextants altogether. Highly recommend this strategy. I will be making a formal video on it in fairly quick order. Take a look at this. Now, you all know how Caustic Arrow went, right? Very fast mapper. If you've been seeing any of my videos recently, you know it's extraordinarily fast. But you're going to see a bit of a difference here in this video. I want you to pay close attention to just how well this build just cuts through butter. How fast I move, how quickly it kills, especially bosses. You're going to notice a major difference there. So this is just like a normal map. Delirium Mirror. There is Beyond on here. I don't typically run maps with Beyond, but I'm going to do it for this showcase, because why not? We're going to rush to the boss like I always do. This is why I like Crimson Temple. Always ask why Crimson Temple over Defiled Cathedral, because I want player quantity, rarity altars, divination, duplication altars, and I got to kill the boss quickly if I want to unlock those altars. In fact, there was an altar behind me. Hope it didn't say Divine Orbs from the boss, but probably not. There's a Harbinger in every single boss room. That's nice. I can extend the Deli Mirror a little bit. So another reason why I like this map over Defiled Cathedrals, because I can handle the Delirium Mirror very easily. I think I'll just go ahead and save looting for after the map, so I don't have to focus too much on that. But we're going to full clear this map. I'm going to scream down here this wing. The left wing here, we're going to open an Essence Monster. Also delays the mirror a few seconds. Beyond boss spawned already. Getting some altars. No really good altars yet. hunting for a King Harbinger. Would be nice to kill, but I didn't find one yet. It's alright, we'll just have to move fast, I guess. I'm gonna have to do this the hard way. I really like King Harbingers because they can delay the Deli Mirror significantly. You can see this looks like a pretty dangerous map, but I'm able to just cut right through. Instead of the whole hit and go and let the chaos damage do damage over time, I do actually have to kind of be Johnny on the spot, killing and clearing as I go. I can't just move around and then hope things die in the background. I gotta be right here, get in the face of everything with point blank. But look at this. I mean, I don't typically kill a King Harbinger this fast with caustic arrow. Can't really be done. You can see this Deli Mirror has not been managed very well, but it's still going on. Let's see how this boss goes here in the Deli Mirror. So this is a somewhat deep Deli boss dying. I mean, definitely he's not going to die that quickly under the effect of a Deli Mirror inside. Even Val Caustic Arrow would not have killed that Beyond boss anywhere near that quickly. So there it is. You can kind of see how it's going. King Harbinger's just getting mowed down right and left. Just kind of running wherever I please. 43 Headhunter buffs. Another big question is, how good is Headhunter? I've been telling people this whole time, look, I don't know. I don't know how good Headhunter is because I have to make the swap to physical to element conversion tornado shot before I can get any real sense of how good it is. Oh, looks like we got a double Exalted Orb from a Arcanist Strongbox. Too bad it wasn't Divine Orbs. Anyway, I've been playing this build a little bit. I did actually make this video ahead of time live on Twitch. Some of you might recall, or some of you were maybe there. I had a bit of a problem, though. The build was missing something very important. An aura. Hatred. Which accounted for over half of my damage, I discovered later on. Couldn't quite figure out how to put it in, so it was a little premature in exposing this build. I got a little bit ahead of myself. I decided once I got the Hatred in and saw the difference, I should probably redo the video and come out with it again. So that is why you're seeing it made a second time here. Alright, so that is basically it. The Deli Mirror is done. I don't really see much else alive. I think for the sake of keeping this video short, we're just gonna port on out of here. Maybe finish with this strongbox. Okay. And I'll come back later for that loot. Let's take you to some of the tabs here. So we got a 100% chance to hit thanks to precision. A few of the stats there. I think one quick thing to show you is the fact that I'm running Magic Find. So you can see here I got 45% quant, 100% rarity, as well as a bonus 60% rarity. Let's see what the numbers come out to. Let me force it there. 61% quant, 142% rarity, which would be 202% rarity, counting this specialized Janus mod, fractured mod there. So got that out of the way. Let's go through the gear first. We have a fractured spine bow, which I crafted myself. The base was about 30 divines. I spent about 30 more divines in crafts with starting with deafening essences of contempt. You're able to finish it out fairly easily. Unfortunately, blew about 30 divines divining the thing. I did divine it up very well. It is extremely well rolled for its rolls. But in the end, probably should have just bought the bow outright because other people are crafting it. On a side note, Vorici gave me 6 white sockets, which I've never seen before. Didn't really need 6 white sockets. That's okay. And I was very fortunate in that the Eye Sling mod came out to blind enemies on hit. That's actually really useful because I'm not even running Grace on this build. So getting that extra chance to evade is going to turn out to be quite impactful, I think. Quiver is a similar story, although it's much easier to craft. Starting it the same way with Deafening Essences of Contempt. But you're able to finish it out quite cheaply, a fraction of the cost of what the bow was. The helmet was one of the big reasons why I had to remake the video. I was running the Gull initially. You noticed on the thumbnail featured the Gull helmet. So this was sort of a last minute change. I had to get the extra mana reservation as well as swap over to Sovereignty from Whispers of Doom, which meant I had to take off my curse on hit and get different gloves, which all worked out in the end quite well. But anyway, this is the helmet. This is the helmet I wore last time. This is a God-touched variation of helmet focused on rarity. I know rarity is not nearly as good this league as it was last league. I got to test things out for myself. We'll see how it goes. Increased area of effect is actually way more impactful this league than it was last league because we're using Oriath's End. You don't see it as much as Profane Bloom or the Gloom Shrine as far as the explosion, but trust me, it's working pretty well. Definitely explodes a lot. It's increased by Flask Effect. I have 40% increased Flask Effect, including Spiked Concoction on Megalomaniac, which is giving me Alchemist Genius, and that is improving the chance to explode, over 50% chance to explode, if I'm not mistaken, or very close to it anyway. And then I have a whopping 49% increased area of effect on this build. So a lot of people talking about that flask is not very good unless you have AoE. Well, I do have quite a bit of AoE because I got a perfect roll Dying Sun for 28% increased area of effect, counting the increased effect of flasks, combined with 19%, or rather 21% here. That's 49% in total. Got some really good double corruptions on Daros's Defiance, on Worm Sign, on Gold Worm. And then swapped from a second Ventors over to Pariah because I'm way over elemental resistance capped. Where was I at again? Let's see here. Ah, there it is. Yeah. And then once I'm running this flask and then once I'm running that flask, well, those numbers are just outrageous. So any sort of altar, the nice thing is, any sort of altar that reduces my resistances, not going to mean anything because I'm way over resistance cap. Part of the reason is because I'm running Purity of Elements, which we'll get into here in a second when I talk about the gem length. So I got a very good Ventor's Gamble. This is a 30 Divine Ventor's Gamble. The gloves, super cheap. Actually, the boots were fairly cheap. I sniped these early on with the live search. Headhunter is still here from before. And a Pariah, very cheap indeed. There, I actually needed it to fit in the extra gem. I'm kind of gem starved for what I want to have, especially if I want to be running enhanced support. But anyway, Omniscience is the name of the game. You guys might recall that I made a video earlier last league about my 7-mirror Deadeye, the evolution of it, from Soul Thirst League start all the way to Strangle Gasp, Tech, Magic Finding, God Touch Farming. But in the middle there was an Omniscience variant where the character actually had the most player power, the most damage that I had. And I wanted to take this champion and mirror it against that character, basically. Oh, I'm going to show you the POB here in a moment. We're going to compare the two on there. But just so you know, I mean, that is sort of where I was at mentally. I wanted to do an Omniscience variant. Some people have been asking, well, where the hell is all your Omniscience? There's no... Where are your attributes? No attributes, no attributes, no attributes, no attributes, no attributes on any piece of gear except the belt. That's it. Well, all my attributes are on the passive skill tree. You actually get a lot on the passive skill tree. So, and you don't really need to cap out resistance or your attributes too much anyway, because Omniscience was kind of nerfed, but it was always set up so that the more you got, the less impactful it was. Kind of have diminishing returns, because if you're taking a monster's resistances from positive to negative, it just becomes like any other additive multiplier. The more you get, the less impactful it is. You want to be stacking various different multipliers of damage, including increased damage, including dot multi or crit multi, whichever one you're rolling, including resistances, extra damage taken by monsters. You want to have a sort of balance of the damage gained as extra damage, which is a big feature, which is why Headhunter is so good, because when we switch over from chaos-based build, we now have a physical to element conversion. We could take advantage of all kinds of gained 50% physical as extra cold, lightning, or fire. I believe there's 9 separate variations of that buff. There's at least 6. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's actually 9 or possibly even 12. I'll have to look at the list again to see. But let's check out, oh yeah, the flasks real quick. I actually kept the flasks on the end. They're the same Quicksilver and Silver Flask. Onslaught flasks get affected by 40% increased effect, so that's really nice. It's one of the reasons why I'm able to run faster than I was last league on the similar character. Subbed out the rarity, double rarity utility flask for Oriath's End. A nice sacrifice, considering rarity lost some of its punch. Still running Dying Sun, still running Divination Distillate. And so that is the flask setup you need. The full 25% reduced mana cost of skill effects with 4 endurance charges total means, as well as the Worm Sign synergy, when I'm at maximum buffs, my Tornado Shot's free. with 30 mana, totally fine. Without the extra endurance charge here, it's only one mana, cost 1 mana. Not a big difference either way. It's time to check the links. Let's get into the links here. We got Anomalous, Tornado Shot, 2120. Most of my gems are like 2120. I will eventually get like 623 Awakened gems, but these are the exact same gems that I had on my character last time, except that I had a rarity support instead of increased critical damage support. But I think we're not getting enough out of rarity right now, so increased critical damage support is going to be a smarter play. More damage. Can't complain about that. Helmet is the same as last league. A lot of these are very similar to what I had last time. It helps to be familiar with the build, intimately familiar with it. So we got Arrogant support and Enlightened support. Of course, I was running double level 5. When I get a level 5 Enlightened support, this space will be expanded. It'll be much more convenient for me, but try to fit Herald of Ice and Vitality in there. You can see I can't even run a full Vitality. It has to be gimped a bit. A little unfortunate. Again, it's going to take a level 5 Enlightened support to really hammer that through. We got a level 4, but it's increased by the corruption here onto level 5, and then obviously it's very tight, and it was a lot of work to get in all of these auras, but I did effectively swap Grace for Haste, which is another reason why this character is running incredibly fast, a little bit faster than I was last league. Petrified Blood, Hatred, Precision also has to be in here when you're running Omniscience, because you can't get the sort of default accuracy from all the dexterity. So when you run Omniscience, you have to have Precision. Purity of Elements is really just there for the immunity to ailments, elemental ailments. There are other ways to do it, but I would have to swap out MF pieces and or Darasol's Defiance, lose the Darasol Defiance, Immortal Call Tech if I wanted to do that, and or sacrifice something like 9 passive points on the Atlas, or not the Atlas, but the passive skill tree. Something I really don't want to do. So the other major sacrifice there is basically reservation by throwing in a Purity of Elements. Had to do it. It's unfortunate, but gets the job done. That, and let's see, Defiance Banner is fit over here nice and pretty by itself. It's free reservation for the champion based on its ascendancy, so it's nice that I don't even need to have it inside the Enlightened support. Doesn't matter, get 2 extra levels from it. Pretty groovy. Over here we got Flame Dash. I really like this setup with an enhanced support. Get a lot out of Anomalous, Blood, and Sand, which is actually mandatory for this build because of the Forbidden Flame and Flesh Jewels, which we'll get into later. Blood Rage, extra attack speed off the enhanced, extra Flame Dash distance for this, so I really like this enhanced support, and I really like this 4-link over here. The problem is Immortal Call cannot even be cast with this little mana, so to fix that, put Life Tap support in there with Immortal Call, and then also I cannot auto cast my Mark either, because Mark is like 70 mana in cost, so both of those issues are solved by costing life. Also helps drive down the Divination Distillate as it begins to cap out, keeps that from capping out in some cases. Of course, I definitely recommend more of a space than this. It's really not enough space. It's going to cap out anyway, but it helps. Definitely helps. So that is it on the gem links. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a turn down memory lane. This is not the champion. This is the Deadeye from last league. In the middle of last league, I had a Deadeye. Very typical setup with the Omniscience, with the massive Thread of Hope. Very typical spot, very archetypal meta build-up setup for whether you're running Magic Find or not. The very nice, expensive 12 passive Warrior cluster down here with a whole bunch of stats. A Megalomaniac with some really good small nodes there. Let's see, Mantra of Flames. God, I missed that one. It really helps with Trinity support. Trinity support still works fairly well, but Mantra of Flames really helps make it work exceptionally well. And then a lot of points down here, getting huge amount of value out of the Brutal Restraint. The seed here is 1966, but I am running a different seed because this one here, I believe I chose it because it had Onslaught on hit, which I don't need now. I have a much better Brutal Restraint now because of some of the constraints are lifted. I used to have to mandate that Frenzy on kill was there, or Onslaught on hit, or Alchemist Genius was in there. Well, I don't need any of those now because I got them in separate different ways. So that's nice. You can see the full DPS is 27 million, although that is a little bit misleading because one of the reasons it's cranked up so high is because there is a tier 1 cold damage roll on a mirrored bow with, I believe, a total of 9 projectiles when it's all said and done. Let me check that actually here. Yeah, it was 9 projectiles. So remember, the Deadeye gets 2 bonus projectiles, plus I had a mirrored bow, so I got the extra implicit there. My champion only gets 6 projectiles in total, so some damage difference there. Probably without that tier 1 cold roll, it's maybe around 22, 23 million. And you're going to see that the champion is sporting around 2/3 of the damage that this character is. This character right here that I'm showing you on the Deadeye, which is linked, also going to be linked to PoE down below. This character is somewhere around 4 mirrors, I believe, in value. So I'm a little less than half of that invested right now in my champion. And, you know, I'll let you explore the Deadeye variant if you want to kind of see the difference. But this is what I had in mind when I wanted to build the champion. I basically wanted to take this character and mirror image it over to a champion to get some of the champion's really cool ascendancies. So let's go over and swap to the champion, which is right here. Nope, not Toxic Rain. Tornado Shot, Magic Find Champion. There it is. Voila. Basically almost identical, right? I mean, except I had to sacrifice a few more points. I mean, I got a little bit of extra value out of here, I guess, with some attack speed and life. But yeah, I still took this jewel slot. Same exact, well, literally the same exact 12 warrior cluster, except a different fracture. I paid 30 divines for this cluster. I felt like I got a quite good value there. One of the major reasons why I wanted to try Champion is because I saw some really cool Forbidden Flame and Flesh options there. We have Arena Challenger. Now, what Arena Challenger is, when you're in Sand stance, which is why I needed Anomalous Blood and Sand, which is a really good, I mean, it's pretty good anyway, because on an enhanced support, I'm able to get a huge amount of bonus projectile speed, which translates into projectile damage thanks to this bow mastery. But I have to be in Sand stance to get the full value of, on kill, an Arena Challenger charge. One Challenger charge is 2% more attack speed and more movement speed, which is kind of similar to what Berserk offers without the defensive bonuses. Kind of similar to how Tailwind works as well. But it's its own, completely own separate multiplier, which means it multiplies as also with any sort of acceleration speed shrine, for example, which makes this character even faster than the fastest variation of my Deadeye, especially when I get that shrine. But again, adding haste, getting onslaught on a flask, and then this Arena Challenger here, as well as down here we got Adrenaline, which gives an extra, extra movement speed, also gives extra damage, permanently intimidating enemies is really nice. That is just a crazy amount of increased movement speed, all the way up to 375%. In total. So this character does actually move faster than the fastest variation of any character I ran lastly, with the exception of the Tornado Shot Ascendant during Berserk. That was the only situation where that character was actually faster. And Berserk is not up 100% of the time, but all of these buffs effectively are up 100% of the time. Inspirational is really strong also with increased effective auras, as well as being able to put Defiance Banner in. I was able to drop Grace and not run Determination. It's a very unique thing about this build, the defensive layers. I'm not even spell suppressed capped, a little bit annoying, but I just couldn't really justify finishing it out. I know that's taboo for a lot of people. They have to be spell suppressed capped. Personally, I don't mind being close to it and not quite there. In my opinion, it doesn't make any huge difference on soft core. Not going to make some crazy... You know, we have 6 portal defense anyway with all the Headhunter buffs. If I'm not mistaken, Headhunter, there is at least one Headhunter buff that gives spell suppression, perhaps. Maybe I can get it on a Megalomaniac mod at one point. Yeah, getting back to this. Fortify. Permanent Fortify, as well as Adrenaline. Some of the defenses there. As well as... you know, Defiance Banner being extra good meant I'm able to drop Grace and not run Determination and still be certainly tanky enough. Oh yeah, of course, as well as a lot of Headhunter buffs. Definitely Headhunter is still pretty strong on the defensive side. Nowhere near as strong as it was 2 leagues ago in Sentinel League, but still pretty good. All right, still good. Got a great Watcher's Eye mod. I thought intelligently ahead of time. A lot of my favorite maps are 8-mod Corrupted Wandering Path maps. The one modifier on there that's extremely challenging is minus 96% life recovery from all sorts of life recovery. I don't like that mod. So I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have only 4% of the capacity of life recovery I have. Well, now I don't have 4%. Now I have 19% of the life recovery that I have. Effectively quadrupling my life recovery when I hit that mod on Wandering Path. It's going to make a humongous difference. 15% increased life recovery rate while affected by vitality. Super stoked about this. Probably an ultimate endgame version. In my opinion now, phasing while affected by haste is probably the most important mod I can run. If you're running haste, it's actually a big part of why haste is so good, is because you can get a Watcher's Eye with permanent phasing. If you're not running a raider, obviously, then it's going to be really impactful. I am going to re-roll this at some point to get it capped out to 40% physical damage conversion to cold. It's going to take a lot of divines to do that, but right now, currently, 1% of my damage is technically physical. So far, it hasn't killed me on physical reflect. Hopefully, it'll stay that way. Everything else looking pretty similar here. The Thread of Hope, massive Thread of Hope. Still taking some of the quintessential nodes here that offers. Getting some pretty big value out of Brutal Restraint 580. Let's see what I got here. I got increased aura effective skills. I got 5% movement speed. I got 5% dexterity. 20% elemental damage. More increased effective aura. More increased effective aura. Gained 5% physical as extra cold. Really big there too. And if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I could. If I picked up one more, I might get Silent Steps for 25% increased critical strike chance. Remember, I do have Blind, and it is helping affect me. But currently only sitting at around, I believe it's a 50% chance to evade attacks. Blind will put me around 70%. Still a little bit low. Still nowhere near as much as Grace would give me. But I think it'll work out. I don't think it was too necessary. You were able to see that map showcase. You tell me if it's good or not. No one passive voices yet, but for now we're sporting the all too typical large cluster with the Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, Martial Prowess. I will probably at some point corrupt this into Corrupted Blood immunity, because I am not immune to Corrupted Blood, believe it or not. I know, it seems crazy. Currently running a Soul of Ralakash for Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on you more than 5 times. Actually, this is still really good anyway. For the reduced physical damage over time when bleeding, that can be kind of a problem when I'm running this fast. Of course, I do like Burning Ground from Aberath more overall, but definitely getting a huge amount of value from the Pantheon there. People always ask about the Pantheon. Actually, I'll go back here also on the Major God, Soul of Our Kali. Chaos damage resistant over time. I only have 8% Chaos res. This really helps with the resistance, makes Chaos damage not too much of a problem at all. With a Petrified Blood build at half-life, damage over time is the most threatening form of damage. So 10% reduced damage from damage over time across the board is good. And increased recovery rate of life when you've taken damage over time recently. Super strong. Got a lot of life regen, got a lot of leech, got a lot of life on hit. Shooting a lot of projectiles. Works out really nice. I actually really like that Major Pantheon God. And I could go with Brine King, but I would still be subject to get freeze immunity and drop Purity of Elements, but I'd still be subject to alter mods that would force me to take on chill reflection and shock reflection and stuff, and I'm just not up for that. I did that a little while last league, didn't work out well. Let me show you a couple of really nice Megalomaniacs here. I needed to get the Hatred and Haste reduction of reservation to fit in everything. Spiked Concoction and Spiteful Presence are the mandatories there. Smoking Remains, not anything crazy special. It does offer more evasion though, effectively, a little bit. Over here, the Haste and the Feast of Flesh and Blast Freeze. So this is an absolute S tier Megalomaniac because I get a lot of value out of Blast Freeze. On my Deadeye, I don't think I showed this, but I was running Fury of Nature at the time. Without Fury of Nature, you need Blast Freeze for the Herald of Ice to do its thing to proliferate. Otherwise, you're not going to get as much proliferation. This works out super, super nice, I think, in conjunction with the new Oriath's Flask for its explosion, and then the freezes are also working on top of that. Get some pretty strong, solid proliferation damage going on there. Had to take, all of this stuff here. Let's see. Got some max life whenever I could afford it, but I think I got something like, how much was it? Yeah, 3,200 max life. Not much. I have had less. I have had less before in the past. But getting a lot of good value out of these nodes here. Getting a lot of critical strike chance. Let's see. I got 33, almost 34% crit chance. 368% crit multiply. I like that. That's a nice balance I like having about 10 times as much crit multiplier as crit chance. I feel like that's pretty solid balance there, so it works out nicely. And yeah, that is it. That's the build as far as... oh yeah, point blank still in there too. In the end, you know, it costs about an extra 4 or 5 passives to start off the champion tree, but everything else you can kind of treat the same. So one of the major things that I dropped is Winter Spirit and Flash Freeze, because on my Deadeye I didn't even have the Watcher's Eye that gave me the cold conversion. So I'm able to save about 4 points right then and there. That's the major place I save the points, if I'm not mistaken. Omniscience. How much Omniscience do I have? 902. It's plenty. You only need about 800 to 850 to equip the bow and everything. Where did I get all that? Well, I got it on the Masteries here. I got some of it from the Brutal Restraint. I got 100 of it from 10 times. Let's see. This does actually is 35% increase effect, so it's not showing up on here. This is actually 10 strength per node times 10. A lot of extra attributes coming on from the passive tree. Plenty, more than enough to make it work. And believe me when I say omniscient, people go crazy about stacking attributes. Omniscient, I've never done a full-blown attribute stacking on an omniscience build before, but I don't see any kind of significant difference between like 800 and 1100. That's what, like 30 penetration? It's not that big of a difference for the kind of price that you have to pay for it. Now, it is good if you're making full usage out of the resistance as well, because that's a big part of it. But again, my resistance capped, what? 283%, 283% fire res with all the buffs. Absolutely unnecessary. So we don't have to worry about that. So that is the POB. And that's basically it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. This POB is going to be linked down in the description below. And let me know what you think. Did you like the video? Do you think the champion is going to work out well? I got to explore some things like the conversion stuff. I'm going to try some Legion and Breach maybe on Dunes at some point to really get a good handle on how the conversions are working with Reliquary Scarabs, to see if rarity on gear really means anything at all anymore. Supposedly it does not at all. But I am seeing some Divine Orbs from currency conversions, seeing a lot of Scarabs, Winged Scarabs, currency conversions, even in this current farm now, and I will be making a formal farming video on this Harbinger Strongbox strategy. I just wanted to get this character set up and running. But you know what's next on my agenda, actually? Completely out of left field. I'm going to do Sanctum. Finally. So if you're listening to this, hearing this, and been thinking to yourself, thank God he's finally going to run Sanctum after 4 weeks. 4 weeks of the league. I still never even touched it yet. I haven't even selected a single room yet in the Sanctum. Been holding myself out. I'm going to involve the community in a big way on that one. So come join the live stream. It's going to be happening basically immediately after I release this video. So if you're watching this video shortly after I released it, I might already be streaming live. And I'm going to let you guys tell me how to do Sanctum. I'm going to go into it effectively blind. I know there are some videos, the how-tos on that. I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to let my community get involved on this one. I think it'll be more fun that way. So yeah. Next on the major agenda, Sanctum. I'm going to finally get myself a relic. Hopefully. I don't even know what the good relic mods are for this build yet. Going to get a mirror tier bow. That's going to be the major thing I'm farming for. And of course going to be testing out more rarity focus, because I got some more rarity magic find actually on this build. And we're just going to have some fun blasting maps. This is my favorite time of the league. This is between months 1 and 3 is my time to shine. This is where I get the highest performance peak out of the game. A lot of people fall off. They feel like it's harder to make currency. Inflation is driving things away from them. All the niche strategies from League Start have gone away. The value of some uniques have gone down. I don't care. That's never really affected me. It's only gotten easier for me, and this is something I really enjoy making content for. I also have a bit of a relaxation on the pressure of trying to play the game as much as possible and create content as much as possible at the same time. I can be a little more laissez-faire about how I play, still able to make tons of currency, even being halfway casual about the amount of actual playtime. So be looking forward to more content. You're going to see a lot of great, enormously valuable content coming from my channel here in the middle of month 2. As I mentioned, this is sort of my time to shine. So got all smiles here. I will see you guys in the next video or live on Twitch. So don't be a stranger.